Hello and welcome to the Farmerland podcast. We're talking today about crises and storms when kids are teenagers. Last week we talked about what it was like going through storms, challenges when our kids were smaller, primary school age and younger. And today we're thinking about how families manage crises when kids are teenagers, when they can remember more. We're going to be hearing much more from the kids, from things that they remember. Family is a podcast where we think about how to build our family lives and parenting around Jesus and his teachings. I don't know, kids, what comes to mind for you in particular about crises, but one that hit the whole nation was COVID. Any thoughts from you about how you walked through COVID? Suddenly you weren't able to be at school. We were all stuck at home. What were your memories of that?
I mean, I was in year 10. I was just talking to my friend about this yesterday. Year 10 was the best time to have COVID hit. Okay, maybe not the best because we had GCSEs, but online school was such a joke. To be able to be in high school and you literally didn't do anything. I also went through a Snapchat video of Toby, and it was while it was COVID and I was doing my online school. It must have been doing like maths or something. And like my whole like room was shaking because Toby was doing his PE lesson online.
That's funny.
And it was so hard to concentrate because Toby was just making my whole room shake. And I remember just giggling at that, and I was like, that's so funny. And actually, I went through a meme the other day, and it's really funny. But like people doing music lessons with masks, but they had like cut out the nose and the mouth bit so they could get to their flute.
No.
So it's like this utterly pointless mask.
That's funny.
Anyway, I just think COVID was such a fever dream.
Liz, do you remember our mask making business?
Yeah.
where I did the logistics and Lucy made them, and I still got
Toby,
paid.
what did you actually do?
I ironed them.
You still made money. You made a lot of money. You did
No,
well.
I
we
don't think we did.
You did.
We
You sold
definitely
them.
didn't. We made about £5.
I remember-
probably.
We
I'm
parceled
pretty
them
sure
on.
you gave some away rather than selling them. I'm
No,
not sure.
no,
Yeah,
anybody
we
ever-
ended up
them.
giving them. We didn't actually end up selling any of them. I don't
I think
think.
that's right.
I thought I posted them and then you got some money.
No,
I'm
Mm,
sure you did.
maybe once.
What, £1?
we went
Yeah.
international.
Sweet shop.
Shall I tell you what I remember? You guys putting us having to confess to the teachers because you'd shared your top tip that you worked out that you could put the teachers' lessons on triple speed so you could finish all your lessons.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you
At the end of
hated
the
that,
morning.
didn't you? You were always adamant that we didn't do that. I was like, what's? I didn't get the problem. That was
Still
probably
going
my
in.
main crisis.
No, I mean, I was worried because I thought, you needed time, you needed to process, but I just gave up in the end and you all listened
I
to
don't
it on
know if you
triple
did.
speed and you'd finished
Wow.
all your lessons by midday or something.
I remember what
That
else.
was
Do
a
you remember
weird
there was
time.
this app called House Party?
Mm.
And that's like
Snap.
kind of like FaceTime vibes. Like it's kind of like Snapchat. Like what even was it? Like it had
It
games.
was
It
it was
did, I
literally
think.
just a
Just FaceTime.
FaceTime thing.
Yeah, and I just remember everyone had House Party and everyone would hop on. And I remember that being loads of fun. And playing on the virtual reality set with Toby. We got this really cheap one that worked with certain apps.
It was
And like
so
Toby,
bad.
me and Toby were doing like the horror ones. And like
it
I
was
remember
so
just
funny.
screaming over the phone with our friends. So yeah,
That
that
was joke.
So fun
But-
bits, but what was there stressful bits, Daisy?
Yeah, I was the cohort that didn't have their A levels, which was
That's
like
right.
absolutely amazing. So for the sake of, in the sense of stress, COVID wasn't that stressful. And then I decided on top of my A levels being cancelled to do a gap year. So I did that at home. But I think COVID probably was less stressful because we got on as a family. It was when stuff got tense, which I know we'll talk about with mum and dad's work, that actually made COVID more stressful. But I think on the face of it, it was quite peaceful because we didn't have financial pressures. I think I got a job just before COVID, like one of the
yeah, I
lockdowns hit. So I just got
remember that.
furloughed, which I
So
did just earn a lot of money sitting at home doing nothing. Really didn't need it.
I remember.
Wow.
Yeah, that was amazing. But
Right.
I think that for me, during my teenage years and COVID, I was applying for drama school online. And that was quite a stressful time because you couldn't convey as much of anything online. And for someone I was trying to figure out basically my life and my career as I was
Yeah.
grappling with COVID as well. And some friends went off to uni, but I was quite grateful not to go to uni. I had my 18th birthday in lockdown. That was kind of sucky.
Oh yeah, that was, and we couldn't have a party for your 18th, so we put all our pennies together and bought you a hot tub, and a surprise cake arrived at the door. Can you remember that? It was.
Oh yeah, it was an amazing day, and like it's something that me and my friends reminisce on, like the 18th birthday parties, and then it kind of got a bit cheekier when it went along with COVID and bending and stuff.
Can you remember the first time we went out for a walk and we got stopped by the police, and I was so upset because I was walking with my children, and the police stopped me and said there was too many people in my party, and I'm like, these are my children. He was like, no, Sadie was the eldest, so she had to walk ahead. And then it was me, Toby and Lucy, because you weren't allowed more than 3 or something ridiculous. And they were going round checking with the police. Yeah. It was right at the beginning. Can you remember that?
Yeah, and it was like 5 minutes from our house. It was so ridiculous.
And I was really, really upset.
I swear we had hardly even got out of the house.
It was around the corner.
And the police just came on me. It went, your walking party or whatever they said was too big. But
what were some of the things that you felt like you missed?
Yes.
From what was some of the hardest bits? Like, what was the loss that you noted more than anything?
Making friends.
Yeah.
In those sort of younger years of like high school and stuff, and like actually developing relationships in school and that. I think I was in year 8 maybe and year 9.
Yeah.
And so that's quite a key part of like, you've done year 7 and now you're kind of finding your group of people. And I didn't really get that.
Yeah.
I think as well, like I remember having quite a lot of conversations with friends, and actually we'd always say, oh yeah, we're 18 but we feel 16 because we were 16 when COVID hit.
Yeah.
Or 15, I can't remember, but like we'd always knock off like 2 years because it felt like those 2 years just didn't happen. So everyone would be like, oh yeah, I'm 18 but I feel 16. And that whole thing of like, oh, we actually missed out on our last high school years. We missed out on being year 10 and 11, having that fun.
Yeah.
Also a lot of mental health stuff. One of my friends really struggled mental health wise. Like Daisy said, we were really lucky. We got a family who really got on. But when you have like a very disruptive family that isn't nice and you're stuck in that house or within that place, that's like super damaging. And school often was a place of escape for a lot of friends.
Yeah.
So having that removed was quite a big, it just was really hard for a lot of people, I think. And obviously, personally, it didn't really affect me as much. But as a friend, I think growing up in a household where we're actually very stable and like got good relationships, I found it really hard to relate to that, and how to support my friends through that was really hard, I think. And I was thinking about the crisis things. My chronic pain started literally just before COVID.
Yeah,
and now it's like 6, nearly 7 years of having chronic pain. And I think that made COVID a lot harder for me personally, not only because like we didn't really know what was going on, but also like it was just a lot pain wise. So I think for me that became kind of the main focus rather than COVID itself, because there was two things going on. I was more drawn to the fact that I was in so much pain than in comparison to like COVID as a thing. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it's really interesting, because I think us being a very tight family, like you've mentioned, we did have quite a lot of fun. We quite enjoyed hanging out together. I don't know if you remember, we had that cake competition, and we got like our friends on social media to like, score us. And I don't know if you also remember the Tear Fund climbing challenge, and there was the internship that Daisy did in COVID. And can remember I bought a bench to go outside the house so that people could have a cup of tea on the bench, and then I would sit on my doorstep and we'd have a cup of tea when you were just allowed to have people at a certain distance, but you weren't allowed them inside. And I remember you guys having friends turn up, and so I think we tried really hard. And the hot tub, because we'd bought it for Daisy's 18th, was just a really lovely luxury treat that we enjoyed, didn't we, quite a lot on just as a family.
Completely ruined the beautiful wooden decking that I'd done like a couple of years earlier. I had never thought about the fact that leaving a plastic hot tub on this wooden decking would rot all the wood.
That was Dad's crisis, because he had to redo it.
That was a crisis.
Redo it.
Had to rebuild the decking. Oh my.
Daisy.
Crisis in COVID.
Yeah, what was the things that you missed the most? What were the losses that were hardest for you?
I suppose like finishing school properly, never actually doing your A-levels. I like completely benefited from it. I think I got much better results than if I'd done my exam.
Amazing results. But you did work hard, Daisy.
I did work hard, but I never had the satisfaction of saying, this was my hard work.
Yeah.
I did this. And obviously...
Whereas Lucy's the opposite, and she'll try and claim that she actually did her GCSE.
I worked
We're not going to do this on camera.
Here we go.
I worked hard. Lucy did it.
Here she goes. Here she goes.
You've all done exceptionally
She
well.
did not do her GCSEs, everyone. She did not desert. No, I'm joking.
Anyway, moving swiftly on.
Yeah, go on, Daisy. Save it, Daisy. Save it.
Anyway, I feel like I did quite well out of COVID, but I think I did lose out on the, like, you finished school together with your friends. I think I lost my friends. I didn't do this because I took a gap year and stayed at home. And my gap year, I didn't have this dreamy idea of going and traveling the world for my gap year, to be honest. Like, it was very rare in Manchester. Moving to London, all of a sudden everyone's like, oh yeah, I went on a gap year to Thailand. I'm like, what? That's not a thing, but apparently it is. But anyway, I never thought about doing that. So I didn't have like these expectations of a gap year. I was very much, I'm going to go to drama school. This is what I'm doing. So I'm taking a gap year to audition. So I didn't feel like I lost out in that sense. And I know lots of friends who went to uni at that time, they struggled unbelievably because of the effects of COVID. But that's not teenage, that's a bit older. So I suppose it is
You're a teenager when you start uni, aren't you?
Like I heard horror stories of like my friends like would be in their flat and they couldn't leave. So you're with your flatmates all day, every day. You can't go out, you can't meet friends. It's just everything was on Zoom. It just sounds horrific. So I think I look at COVID quite gratefully, the situation I was in. But yeah, I don't think I'm normal in that regard.
That's true. Not being able to finish school, that was a big deal. Not being able to be with your friends as you kind of come to the climax of your high school, college education. That's a massive loss. And what were some of the ways that you think that were helpful to have dealt with some of those challenges?
I think for me, Lucy and Toby obviously had school to keep them busy. But I'm quite a busybody. So I was doing this stuff with Tier Fund, which was a real privilege. I helped them, I helped make videos for them, like YouTube vlogs, which are just horrific.
And they're still there, which you can find today.
I thought they were amazing.
They were. We were very proud.
And you did so well, Daisy, because I do remember you not being able to say goodbye to your friends. And you might not remember, but you were actually really upset about it. I remember talking it through with you and having many nights, you feeling quite sad about it. But,
yeah, and that was tricky. And I think not having access to your friends was really hard. I also think for me, seeing all my friends go to uni and make friends eventually was difficult for me because I was like, everyone's left me and I'm here stuck. But I did those Tier Fund vlogs. I also did like courses in acting online. So I did what I loved and just fully went for it. And I read a lot. Like, I really went for it. And because I had a goal of drama school, I was reading Shakespeare every day and all sorts, and Toby's worst nightmare. And then this was something that I just remembered. I asked Granny Kernock, Mum's mum, to do Swahili lessons with me on Zoom because they often go to Tanzania. And that was a really beautiful way of, like, she sent me a textbook and I felt like I wanted to keep learning. I didn't learn anything, but we had a lot of fun.
you had
I think she was always,
time with Granny.
Yeah, quality time.
Do you remember anything?
No. And also,
really?
I didn't. Oh, no, I know Habari. That's hello.
Well done.
Yeah.
Just don't tell Granny that.
Don't tell Granny that. Also, I'd come late poor Granny. I would come late every lesson. Wouldn't have done my homework.
I was going to be like, what are you late from, though?
In COVID, how can you even be late?
True.
Do you know, it's just reminded me, I remember pulling my hair out because Toby dropped French and was meant to be studying his other subjects. And he came downstairs one day and went, I'm going to learn French. I was like...
No, that was Lucy. Lucy did that with
Lucy.
Spanish.
That was me with
was it
Spanish.
you?
Yeah, I emailed my old... So I did Spanish up until year 9.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'm so sad didn't learn a language. So I emailed my old Spanish teacher and said, can you send me loads of resources? I want to learn Spanish. And so she did. She was an utter legend.
But I was so frustrated because you were meant to be focusing on your other subject.
Yeah, I probably didn't have time or capacity to do that, but I did. And I don't really remember any of it. But it's helped me with Portuguese, so that's good.
Did you do much art, Lucy?
I did. One of your friends commissioned me to do some pieces.
Oh, yeah. You got a
which
lot
were,
of
like,
money from them.
my first paid commissions.
Your
which
best
was really
pay
fun.
packet.
Yeah, that was honestly quite fun. So I remember doing that quite a lot. And I was doing GCSE art as well. So art was already in the mix. And yeah, I think I just doodled quite a lot. But I think I would love to say that I like leaned on Jesus and I loved like spending time with Jesus. But my relationship with God was just not as it is now back in the day. Like, I think I definitely relied on God, and I think online church was a whole other thing. But I don't think I can go far as saying like I spent so much time with Jesus, because I just don't think I had that relationship with Jesus yet. But yeah, I'm kind of sad I don't have that story to tell, but God is
But it
still
sounds a bit like one of the things that helped you all in the midst of that particular crisis was spending time doing something that you loved, even though there was something awful happening at the same time. I mean, this was when me and Mum were going through a really hard time at work. And so we were trying really hard to not bring too much of that stress home, but we couldn't avoid it. And so I guess we're wondering, well, what impact did that have for you?
Because we tried to protect you, but we also wanted to be honest with you. So you didn't know all of it, but we did share it with you, and we decided to share it with you. It was incredibly painful time for myself and your dad. But yeah, it would be really helpful to know, because I know that you were affected by it. How did it affect you? What could have myself and dad done differently? What are your thoughts on it?
I think we could very much visibly see that something was wrong. So I think you guys sharing not everything, but a little bit was actually the best thing you could have done, because otherwise it would have been, okay, something's wrong and they're not trusting us to tell us. And I think that would have been harder, I guess. But I think it definitely did have an impact on all of us. I remember just really wanting to speak to one of my friends about it. It was quite a confidential thing happening at the time, so between the family kind of thing. And I remember finding that quite hard, because my best friend at the time attended church, so not being able to have those conversations with her was really difficult. But I do remember our youth worker at the time reaching out, and he was amazing, and he was like, look, this is going on, and I know that you guys are kind of aware, not of everything, but little bits. If you need someone to chat to who has a little bit of an understanding, I'm here for you. And that was just like really helpful to have. I don't think I actually end up reaching out, but I think just having the option of that is there, someone I can chat through things with who isn't mum and dad, but is also someone who is just there, was really quite comforting to have.
So like a safe place that wasn't family, but was somebody who could understand what was going on, but talk with you through it.
But I think we all kind of lent on each other. I think we can all agree that definitely that experience brought us together so much more as a family.
Yeah.
Because it was just so tight knit. I think definitely me, Daisy and Toby got really close through that, because we kind of had to lean on each other. And I remember having conversations with them about it, with and without you guys there. And so knowing that we can lean on each other as a family unit, and this is something we're going on through together, and that there's an end, like that what was keeping everyone going, I think. But it was definitely hard. I think there was moments where it definitely cracked the family a little bit. I remember that there was one specific time we were all literally sobbing in Toby's room. And I remember that being quite like, it sounds damaging, but actually was quite healing and redemptive, just to like all just sit and cry together. Like,
I remember that.
There's something beautiful about like, this sucks. And I remember you guys just being like, that is what it is. It sucks. And I remember that acknowledgement of like, we're not pretending it's okay, and just sobbing together and actually having that release of emotions all together, knowing that everyone's kind of on the same wavelength, was actually really healing. And I think from that day, we were so much stronger as a family unit through the rest of it than we were before.
That's really interesting, because last episode we were talking about Mama being taken into hospital. I was trying to work out, what do I do? Do I take you to see her? Do I not? And I think parents are always trying to work out, well, what do we share and what don't we share? And it sounds like in this scenario, as you're getting older, we were trying to, obviously we were carrying stress, but we were trying to constantly work out what's appropriate to share, what's not, what's helpful, but recognizing that actually as you mature, you've got to learn to deal with really hard things. So that's heartening to hear, even though it was a really difficult season. What about you, Daisy or Toby?
I think for me it was really tricky, because I had less to do than Lucy and Toby 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And we've got a house, right? And mum and dad were working from home. So you could hear a lot of the stress / the kind of emotions of the thing that was going on quite easily. Like, you didn't hear the substance, but you could see how difficult it was. And I think as the eldest child, I really tried to protect Lucy and Toby from that. But that meant that it felt at the time like a lot of weight on my shoulders, because I was trying to be in the middle, a bit of a middleman I think a lot of eldest children can feel that and understand that way. But that said, like Lucy, what you just said, I think that time was really healing. I remember before we were all crying, we were like so angry. I don't think I've ever felt as angry in my life. I was just angry at the state of what was happening. And I was angry at so much. I was angry that I was at home and had to deal with it at home. And I just, all this anger had like completely built up, and then I just released. And I think that was really important for all of us.
Yeah.
And that's when Daisy got into boxing. No, I'm
Our
joking.
pro boxer.
Unfortunately not. Imagine, I think that would actually be quite helpful for me now in my job.
I mean, just look at her. Doesn't she look like a boxer?
She does.
I actually, at my gym, there's a boxing thing, and I tried it out the other day, and my boyfriend was like, Days, just don't. He was like,
Speaking
no.
the truth in love.
Yeah, he was like, you're trying.
Oh.
Were there other things that helped as well, Daisy? What helped you in the midst of that crisis? It was out of your control. You were feeling the pressure. What other things did you find help?
Yeah, that was the time that I started journaling, and I think that was really helpful as an external processor. I started it intentionally for my acting because it's meant to be really good for your creative juices. I don't do that anymore, but it was recommended to me by someone who was mentoring me actually, and she just said, write a page a day. I think I originally did 2 pages a day during lockdown, and it became a process for me and I did it to God. I didn't just journal my emotions. I did it as if it was a letter. Wow. I also started these, I remember some days it was really difficult. I started these videos which were kind of like prayer videos, but like being creative in prayer and using Bibles and like your imagery and prophecy to like speak over yourself. And I had some really beautiful moments with God. But that was all on my own. I kind of had to seek it out. But I think because I had the hat on of trying to be creative and trying to get to this acting, it actually helped me have a distraction as well. But journaling, like, I can't recommend it enough. I think I do it every day now. I don't do a day without it. Or I do, but my day's significantly less as good if I don't do it.
What about you, Tobe? What was your perspective on the whole thing, and how did you handle it?
To be honest, Lucy was saying that we cried all together. Like, I can't actually really remember much of it.
Really?
Like, I don't think I remember that.
No way. In your room?
I don't think I remember that. No. I don't know. I think I must have blocked quite a lot of it out, or I just don't really remember it. COVID just was a bit of a crap time, so I don't try and think about it. I think that what I learned though through that process was definitely that prayer is the first place to turn to in times of trouble. I think I first learned that in primary school, where I was getting bullied. It doesn't stress me out anymore, so that's good, folks.
It's good.
Yeah.
But I think that in those 2 storms, the thing that you guys taught us really well is that the first place to turn to is prayer, and through prayer and trusting in the Lord, you get through it and you get to the other side.
Was it, Toby, just a question, was your relationship with Jesus, was that partly when you were in COVID, because you had youth group online and stuff, was that a support, do you think, in your faith journey? Because obviously that was really hard, wasn't it? Because all of a sudden you couldn't see your friends, you couldn't go to your clubs, you had each other, and you did have your moments where you got sort of fed up with each other. We tried our very best to make it as fun, especially because we had this really painful situation going on. But I think our youth worker then, they had youth sessions on. Was that helpful on your faith journey, Toby? Or can you remember that?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't really remember how much how good my faith was, strong my faith was. I know that I definitely was, like, I would have called myself Christian, would have called myself like a follower of Jesus. But I don't think I would have been like, I mean, when you're that young, you kind of, I don't know. You can obviously be an awesome follower of Jesus. It doesn't matter what age you are, but I think Toby at that age wasn't like, I don't know. But I think youth was I think I found that quite tricky because I find it hard to engage with things full stop. And when it's online and it's kind of, I don't know, it's less engaging when it's online.
And I suppose school was online and everything else is online, and so
and you just get a bit fed up, you get a bit fidgety in the seat.
But having the support of friends, I think I
100%
found that very significant. Not that you necessarily talked about it, so not in the same way as Lucy, but you were playing online, you were
Well, eventually, because we've told that story about Fortnite, because at the beginning you weren't.
Yeah, that was a crisis.
That was a crisis because you weren't. Yeah.
Well, let's get to that. What were some of the crises that you remember that we might not? So we've talked about COVID. We talk about parents going through difficult stuff at work and the stress they might bring home. What are some of the crises that you remember? And crucially, like, what helped you? What were some of the things that you recall?
Well, there's that iconic memory of me getting spagged at a house party.
Yeah.
And I just remember, okay, so I don't remember much. I was totally blackout. I do admit to being quite tipsy before getting to this party. Had a sip of a drink from a side, which was my complete mistake. Or like someone had handed it to me, I don't remember. And straight after that, I like literally don't remember anything. And I have like bits of memories. But God really, really protected me. Like, oh my gosh. There was literally one of my friends had to, basically the guy who suspectedly drugged me had like fireman threw me over his shoulder and was walking off like out of the like place. And big up Gareth, not you, Dad, my friend Gareth, literally just ended up like dragging me off of him and like looking after me for complete the whole night. I was actually meant to be at work the next day, so Daisy was coming to pick me up at 11 p.m. already.
That's right.
And Daisy
Actually,
came
Gareth
and...
rang us. He was really good because he was
Yeah,
so
Gareth rang.
frightened.
I remember that.
He was so frightened of what happened to you. He rang us, and that's when we were like, do we call the police? Your dad was off the scale, worried but
was
mad.
not happy.
He was not happy.
I remember like being in the car crying my eyes out and being like, Daisy, I can't see. And then like it's like blackout again. And then I'm on the floor in my bathroom in the house. And then I'm blacked out again and I'm in the hospital with Dad next to me and I am absolutely stressing.
Yeah.
Because I'm like slowly like recuperating at this point. We're in A&E. And I'm like so stressed. And then Dad's like next to me and I'm like, I'm going to get such a telling off. Like, I don't know what's happened. Like, I'm also very confused because I like literally don't know what's happening. Very scared. And then I don't really remember much of what happened. I just remember telling the people what happened of what I could remember. And then I remember going to bed. I don't remember how I got home. Don't know how I got my bed. I just remember being asleep. And then waking up the next day to Mum being like, the police are downstairs. They want to speak to you. And I remember being like, no. And I remember speaking to the police and I was like, yeah, if I tell you who it is or who I suspect it is, with my school, there's a lot of gangs and there's just this whole scenario that could happen if I said anything and I don't want to do anything. So we didn't do anything. But that whole scenario was very much a crisis thing for me. I remember feeling confused. I'd gone to this party because I literally told Mum and Dad, oh, the only people going are people I know, friends.
You'd lied.
No. That was what I was told. And to this day, I stand true on that. There was literally 3 people at this party who I had never met before. And everyone else was from my sixth form. And so I think I was just very confused of being like, wow, like one time I like actually wanted to try and like have a good time with my friends, whatever. And like Mum and Dad had trusted me to go to this house party for once. They were pretty harsh on that, like going to things like that.
Well, now we know.
I had been clubbed, yeah. And then I'd always been like, oh, I don't understand why they always say no. And they finally said yes. Then I was like, well, they're never going to let me go to anything ever again. And they were like, we don't trust your friends. And I was like, but they kind of saved me. And then I was like, but then also like, the only person who don't trust is the guy who's randomly there. Like,
so what were some of the things that we did right? And what were some of the things that we could have done better?
I think your response was honestly the most beautiful response you guys could have done, in the sense of, Dad, you were the most kind and like considerate of being like, I don't care about what really happened. Like, obviously I care what happened, but I care that you're okay. And that comes first. Like, we can talk about details later and what happened, but I want to make sure that you're okay. And like, I think having that conveyed, I was like, okay, like I might get a very bad telling off later, but actually I know that ultimately they care about my safety, and the reason why they're upset is because they care and love me. So yeah, I think that he handled really well. I don't think it was helpful to have the police there as soon as I woke up. I think it was like 9 a.m. as well, so I hadn't even like slept in, and like I was still pretty discombobulated, and like I was
think that
still
was
figuring
their
it out.
choice,
Yeah, I don't think-
that probably wasn't your choice.
That'd be great.
It's
But
because you were at the hospital and they said that you'd been spiked. So as soon as that happens, the police get involved. And so they were worried. I mean, you were very lucky. Thank God that Daisy was there and was able to pick you up.
Go on, Tate.
Okay, sweet. So quickly going off what Lucy said, I'm not going to share the crisis because that's too long. But one of the hardest times that I've gone through, I came to Dad and basically told him the truth of what had happened. And actually, he was sitting on that sofa, and I was like, I basically just told him, and he was like, right, what do you want to do about it? He's super chill, didn't get angry at me, didn't get
Was
annoyed. You were
Gosh.
very chilled.
I
Like,
was furious inside. So
you
that's
were,
very
you're like
impressive.
the most chilled I've probably seen. Dad sat on the couch and I told him the truth and he just was very chill about it. And that to this day has stuck with me.
Oh.
So if you're a parent and if you're able to have a very serious side, but then also just be very chill. Dad
That's
was
grace.
awesome, yes. But
Yeah.
that made the situation so much more easy.
I think in that moment, though, I was really aware that I could tell it was costly for you to take responsibility and share what you were sharing.
Yeah.
So I think in that moment, I was trying to honour that. And perhaps if you'd kept it to yourself for 2 weeks or whatever, I'd have had a different reaction. But I think because I could tell that, you were doing something that felt really costly. Yeah, you're right. It was quite a crisis.
I think probably Dad saw that you were freaked out by it as well.
Yeah.
That you were
Yeah.
really, you already were paying the cost and you felt it. And I remember him coming to tell me what had happened and he was just really proud of you for telling the truth.
That's true. Daisy, do you have any recollections of crises and what was helpful and what might have been more helpful?
Can't hear you, Daisy.
Can't hear. I'm not sure if your microphone stopped working.
That's a crisis, isn't it?
It is.
Wow, well done, Tootie.
So, dearest Daisy's microphone's not working. So, we're drawing to a close. But I think something that is so important that you've all talked about, obviously, is our relationship with Jesus, but friends showing their love and kindness throughout those storms. And I particularly remember, especially that very, very painful time during COVID, friends sending us gorgeous gifts, prize gifts. Particular family were just loved on us. And they were a gift from the Lord. And, I don't know if you remember them bringing ice cream sundaes or something like that, and they just arrived on our doorstep. Cakes and flowers and wine, just really, really kind friends coming along and saying, we can see this is tough. We're here, we'll listen to you, we'll pray with you, we'll hold your hand, we'll mop up the tears. And I just think that's really, really important. And as a family, doing that for each other. I just want to say to you guys, you were amazing. I remember because we had online church, I was delivering things and working out how best to support those who were in real poverty at that time. But I remember online church and you guys were amazing because Gareth and me, we were going through this really hard time. You go, Mum, Dad, you've got it. We're with you. And you were supporting us and you ran all the tech. I remember you praying for us before we went online in church. And me and your father would be in a mess and you would just pray for us and the Holy Spirit would fall upon us. And I was really grateful for how mature and how supportive you guys were. And that's a real example of how in a crisis a family can support each other. And that's through loving and listening to them, being there for each other.
Yeah.
And it wasn't all glorious. There were big arguments. Toby and Lucy at loggerheads and Daisy too, getting fed up because there wasn't anyone else in the house and no friends to go and visit. Yeah, it's extraordinary, isn't it, how the Lord has been so faithful to us along our journey, providing those right people at the right time and as a family,
So
providing each other.
trying to be a safe space for one another, but also recognizing that we need people beyond the family as well to help support, that be the safe places. Sounds like it's really key. And we've talked about prayer. We've talked about trying to be honest with each other. And I hope that's been a helpful conversation for you if you've been through crises with teenagers or if you're about to go through them. We hope that will help prepare you or encourage you for what it is that you've been through or may still yet to go through. And Daisy, we're sorry that we've lost your sound, but we look forward to hearing from you next time too. So friends, we hope that's been helpful. Please, as ever, do like and share and comment and subscribe. Send us messages if you'd like to at hello@familylandpod.com or message us via Instagram on familylandpod. And we look forward to seeing you again very soon. God bless you. Bye.
Bye.